And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth. Centered around your real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, and over 80 other show categories. We want to entertain, educate, enlighten, and engage in an effort to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now I want you to pull out your smartphone, save our consumer advocate hotline number in your phone. It's 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-917-1894. And we want you to bookmark our website, realestateradiotampa.com. That's our website, blog site, a plethora of information available for you at realestateradiotampa.com. We also have a sister company called the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com as well, more focused on health, wealth, nutrition, and lifestyle, recreation-related type activities. And so we don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder, if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work, this show's for you. We want to help you win in any marketplace, help you avoid a lot of the commission-based advice that's so prevalent in our communities. And so let's go around the horn here, make our introductions. Actually, before we do, I want to give a shout-out to Michael Vogt Massage, Back in Health Massage, giving an awesome massage here. Back in Health Massage, top 10 massage services in Tampa Bay, as voted by the Tampa Bay Business Journal's Best in the Biz Awards. Giving a shout-out to Michael Vogt, located at 3750 Gun Highway, Back in Health Massage. And let's go around the horn here, make our introductions. Back in studio, Mr. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Welcome in.
Good afternoon, Tampa Bay, and thank you for having me again, Brandon. It's always good to be in the studio. Brandon, you've got this smile on your face all the time. I love it, and it's the optimism that we share in this business.
That's right.
It's what's going on out there. I don't want my the listeners to believe that I'm over optimistic because I'm on the radio. I'm speaking from the heart. It's just a tremendous time to be in business. Anything related to housing and real estate, great time to be there.
Well, we live in the best city and the best country in the planet. Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater. Can't beat it. Also in studio, attorney Jeff Thibault, tax resolutions attorney. Welcome in, sir.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. It's great to be here. Excited to talk about, as part of the fact that the real estate market's starting to blow up around here, a lot of people are finding themselves with tax liens and judgments and things that affect their ability to sell, purchase, or refinance homes, and are having to deal with those. So there's certainly plenty of ways to resolve those issues with the IRS or other creditors, and we can discuss some of those options so that people can move on and not be affected by those judgments or liens any longer.
Yeah, one of the most notable in my ideas is the offer and compromise as well. People can do offers and compromise and help get rid of some of that tax relief, right?
Yeah, the offer and compromise program is a great resolution option for taxpayers to resolve tax debts.
Also in studio, the mortgage maverick, Mr. Curt Lorden, branch manager, Interlinc Mortgage.
Regulators. We regulate any stealing of this property. We're damn
It
good
is.
too.
I love it.
But you can't be
Ron,
any
so
geek
happy
off
to
the
be here.
street.
Yeah, man.
Football's upon us. We will not have another Sunday without football until February, which fires me up.
Wow.
And with that being said, I'm going to kind of talk about why the move from the Rams from St. Louis to L.A. has already predicted the outcome of the election.
Interesting. Okay. Nice teaser there. Nice radio teaser there, Curt. Love it, love it. Things happening. We also have a great story here we're going to talk about that's highlighting Tampa's economy as flourishing from FloridaPolitics.com. Great article we're going to touch on later in the show. And, again, we want to remind you this is your number one consumer advocate right here on the radio, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m., 1250 wins your most important hour weekdays. On the weekends, we're on 102.5 The Bone on the FM dial on Sunday morning as well. So shout out to all of our Gulf Coast listeners down to Fort Myers, Naples, Bradenton, Sarasota, out east in LaBelle there, small town east in Hendry County. So properties of the month here, we've got a 1126 Marina Drive, Tarpon Springs, in Anclosures Isles, 4-bedroom, 4-bath property, over 5,000 total square feet, over 3,880 square feet heated, and it's a waterfront, beautiful property here. Boater's Paradise, bring your boat, and it's right there in Anclosures Isles. $1.399 million, compliments of Platinum MVP Realty, Victor Alleman, and also got a vacant lot to build on here out in East County, East Hillsboro. It's 2101 Isle of Palms Drive in Valrico. A great buying opportunity, half-acre golf course lot, and it's in Fox Run phase of Bloomingdale Ridge. $135,000 is a ask price on that property. Great buying opportunity. So for this or any of your real estate questions, comments, concerns, check out our blog at realestateradiotampa.com. Let's go ahead and bring Mr. Fred Muth into the conversation. Tampa Screens and Aluminum. So he's able to build on the back of your house or maybe even your office space. You can build these beautiful screen and aluminum buildings. Patios,
screens, pool enclosures, we do it all. We love to take the calls. We love the people to ask the questions, the customers. We're probably hitting 50 to 60 good sales leads a week, and how we handle them so that we don't spin the wheels of the customer. We try to get the scope of work, and then of course maybe a budget number,
right?
Possibly a size, and then we don't want the customer to assume they can buy a $10,000 room for $5,000. And at that point, we'll schedule the appointment, go out on the property, and we'll take a look at what's there, ground elevations of the home, which are very important in this business, going forward with the project. We don't want to create any type of a flooding issue, because when you pour concrete, for example, you're taking away water percolation space. And
right.
400 square feet of concrete slab is going to eliminate 400 square feet of water percolation.
Right.
So we have to review all this and discuss this with the customer. And to me, it's interesting and it's enjoyable. I was on a project yesterday. I was the third estimator in the business, and they had an issue with the backyard, etc. So we had a solution that the other guys were not able to come up with, and I'm probably going to sign that job up next week.
What was it? Can you give the?
Yeah, the back of the yard goes up in the air. It's and you have to put a 12-foot patio out there, and the back of the yard typically goes from 0 up to 14 inches and 12 feet. So basically, we're going to step the slab up. Customer walks out, steps up, and they love that idea. So it's going to work out pretty well.
Nice. Look at that. Creative solutions. I love that space. You have a nice home. You got the air conditioned space, and then you have kind of that between space between outside. And then you've got the screens. You can put ceiling fans in there. You're able to enjoy that in-between space of the outdoors and the indoors.
October through April, you're going to be using our screen rooms.
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome, man. A lot of people put, the extra square, the lanai equipment, furniture,
yes.
rather, and then, some people might put a pool table out there, maybe, just depending on how they set it up.
That's right. The question is, at what point do you purchase the screen enclosure, the lanai, whatever? After you buy the home, if there's any money left, please call us.
Yeah, and also we'll talk as well with the appreciations that we've seen. Curt Lorden, branch manager, Interlinc Mortgage, local lender here, support your local economy. He can help you out with, accessing that equity through cash out refinances, different opportunities there as well. So there's ways that homeowners can, do these types of projects if they have foresight, especially with the appreciation we're seeing here in Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater.
That's right.
Yeah, you see. So yeah, it's your business. You've been around for, gosh.
Tampa Screens, I believe it was 1989 they incorporated, and I've been working in this industry since 1992. So, we can visualize the project, and it's the estimator's responsibility to try to drive that point to the customer. Because when we walk to a project, we can see the job completed, and if the customer is not able to visualize that as well,
yep.
Obviously there could be discrepancies, etc.
Yeah, and this with this Zika virus having the mosquito airborne by mosquitoes, I guess is the term.
It's terrible. It's just unbelievable, and don't let the mosquito get in your screen enclosure, because you never know what's going to happen from that point on.
Right.
So. Zika is really not something that I want to touch on too much, because I still think there's a lot of parts of the Zika problem that we're not clear on at this point.
Right. Yeah. So we get that screen aluminum, get the screen out there, and it's one more barrier between you and your house.
That's correct.
You can at least have that space to enjoy if this gets worse. So, yeah, more from our experts here in studio. We're also going to touch on this story here. Tampa Bay's economy is flourishing. And this is a story out of FloridaPolitics.com. And we're going to shift gears. When we come back, we're going to talk with attorney Jeff Thibault. tax resolutions attorney, ways that tax liens can be dealt with, the impact on real estate transactions and ways to resolve them. And there's other ways as well. We talk about some bank levies, wage garnishment, and offer and compromise as well. So we've seen those commercials on TV. We've got a local expert here in Tampa Bay, someone that can help you if you are in debt with the IRS or you have issues, and other bankruptcy options as well. And more from Curt Lorden, branch manager at Interlinc Mortgage, going to talk about the market, things happening in, what was it, Curt, the move from St. Louis to L.A.?
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
And how it's already the election's already been determined based on that.
All right, let's find out. Let's find out. So don't touch that dial. And you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation, visit Pasco County, Florida.
Welcome back. I'm Brandon Rhymes, your host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty, and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. Featured in Florida Realtor Magazine, Tampa Bay Business Journal, and the Tribune. Recognized for innovations with marketing, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. And speaking of hot real estate, I've got a couple brand new listings here. 5722 Tanager Side Road in Lithia, Parkside Village, 4-bedroom, 3-bath property, 3,236 square feet heated, and listed at $459,000. Great buying opportunity, 4-bedroom, 3-bath pool home in Parkside Village, Tanager Side Road, Lithia, as well as a beautiful buying opportunity as well. And attention builders, developers, anybody that might want to hold on to a large parcel of land, hunters maybe even, 527 Cloverleaf Drive in Lithia, Candlewood Acres, 3-bedroom, 2-bath property, and listed at, there's 1,856 square feet, listed at $2.1 million. Now, the majority of the value is in the land. There's 42 acres of pastures, fields with improvement, Pangola grass for hay, so great buying opportunity here. 527 Cloverleaf Drive in Lithia, Florida. I want to remind you, check out our website at 813, or our hotline at 813-917-1894. So we're back here in studio, live from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa. And first segment we heard from Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum Inc., talking about ways that you can improve your properties, adding these beautiful additions that he and his company offers. Now we're going to switch gears. We're going to have a little tax talk. We're going to talk with the tax resolutions attorney, Mr. Jeff Thibault. So, yeah, what are you seeing out there, Jeff?
Lately, I've been having a lot of clients that are ready to sell their homes, of appreciating value, have equity again, and are thrilled to do so, or thrilled to purchase a home. Now with employment looking better, and a lot more people coming down to the Bay Area, and then they realize that they have trouble getting financing or purchasing a home because of a judgment out there or a tax lien that's going to either be detrimental to their credit or affect the title of the real estate to some extent, and needs to be dealt with. A lot of people put their head in the sand when it comes to things like that. Yeah. And those tax liens, one of the goals of the IRS is really just to cause problems so that you deal with it, and they're pretty effective at doing that with tax liens, in addition to levies against wages and bank accounts. Yeah, so if you're going to close a transaction, it's going to come up in the title search or at some point through the mortgage pre-approval process. Yeah, unfortunately, it always seems to come up later on in the process for some reason, days before closing when a realtor's waiting for their commission or whatnot. But yeah, those things are easy to find and easier to deal with time without the pressure. So if there is somebody with tax issues, it's definitely better to start looking into that at least when you're getting the general idea that you're going to be listing a house for sale or purchasing a home soon. And they will know, typically, they're going to have letters that are sent to their primary residence. Yeah. Often enough, non-filers, if they haven't updated their address with the IRS, sometimes they'll never get the notices that were just sent to the last, recorded address. But for the most part, they know. But a lot of times the IRS is sitting on the sidelines and not too active, and people, get too comfortable in the fact that the IRS isn't hounding them, like with a wage garnishment or something that's, affecting their paycheck every other week, right, or freezing their bank account. Those things tend to get people to move a lot faster because of the immediacy. But certainly you should have received notices by certified mail regarding any tax liens that were going to be filed. Probably as well as a plethora of advertisements from from these international, I'll call them firms, but more like call centers, to offer services to resolve those issues. What are those, like lead generation services typically, and then they'll sell the lead to an attorney? Yeah. Another kind of hot topic in the area right now is on the same basis as those list of taxpayers that are delinquent are essentially being purchased by scams, by these fraud schemes going on. And every day now I'm getting calls from clients of mine who are currently in some sort of payment plan with the IRS or possibly in a bankruptcy and shouldn't be being contacted at all, saying that the IRS is calling them or sending them emails threatening that the sheriff's coming after them. And inevitably it's always some odd area code outside of the area, or an email. If you hover over the links, it's not an official IRS website, or it's usually a Gmail account, and they're all scams. Right. The IRS pretty much solely only corresponds with people by U.S. mail, on official IRS letterhead, not by email or by phone. Yeah. But a lot of people are freaking out these days getting those calls. And again, they're targeting people that actually seem to owe, so it's not such a shock for the people that are receiving these emails and calls. They're not as skeptical as somebody who knows that they don't owe the IRS. Right. If you just joined us, you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We're talking with attorney Jeff Thibault,
tax resolutions attorney here in studio. And yeah, Jeff, I see it too, man. It's I was watching American Greed the other day, an interesting show on CNBC, and it's very similar. I can't remember if it was related to this type of tax IRS situation, but these scammers in Jamaica were buying these lists, and they're calling the a lot of times the perp is calling an older client, and then potentially they're getting their emails, and they're saying, hey, you got to pay this money, and send us down, wire this money. Yeah. And they even had it in some of their their music, like their reggae type style of music. They said they had something about the scammers and the list, and it was in the words.
Yeah. The IRS, the usually telltale sign is if they offer you a settlement for payment now. The IRS never calls you and says, but we'll take X number of dollars today if you can come up with it, or give us a credit card number over the phone.
Right.
That, if anything else, doesn't give it away. That definitely should. And like I said, they usually will make these calls with no information and try and fish information out of you. So if they don't know exactly, the details that they're fishing for to tell you when they're the ones calling you, obviously all they know is what's in public record, which is name, address, essentially, and that you do owe some sort of tax debt.
Now, let's walk us through a scenario, or maybe even a recent success story, Jeff. Something happened, someone has some debt, you're able to work with them, you go through the process, and do you have a recent success story, something along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of different ways to resolve IRS debts. Sometimes if we're resolving an old lien, a lot of times liens just linger and that have been satisfied, but for some reason or not, the IRS hasn't filed a notice of satisfaction or a release of that lien. So a lot of times when closings are approaching, a title agent will see doing a title search that there's still a lien there, and that can be quickly resolved. Otherwise, if you're going to sell a home or short sale a home still, oftentimes we can have those liens released as to a specific piece of property. A lot of people don't realize an IRS lien essentially affects all real estate within a county, as well as all your personal property in the county when it's filed in the county where you reside. But an offer in compromise is one option. Bankruptcy is a great option. Installment agreements, setting up payment plans with the IRS are great options. I recently had a taxpayer who owed about $1.4 million. We filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy in about 90 days. About $1.2 million of that was dischargeable, and now he's in a very reasonable payment plan for the rest. I had another corporate client not too long ago. The IRS wanted some like $10,000 a month installment payment, and we were able to get that down to about $1,500 a month, essentially by stretching out the payment plan. Before that, they were levying every pay source coming into the business, so the business simply couldn't make payroll and was days away from shutting down. So
that's scary. So you can't make payroll. These judgments, these liens rather, are going to be like a blanket around everything.
Yeah. The IRS doesn't necessarily mind shooting themselves in the foot. They don't really offer to leave you enough to run your business without the common sense approach that if you don't pay your employees, they're not coming back, and there will be no more money coming into the business to get. So often enough, it's in their best interest too to let the business stay viable, work out a reasonable payment plan so that the business can still survive and pay the entire balance, or at least a substantial portion of the balance back, rather than levying everything they have in their bank account and then they end up shutting down.
Yeah, and 10 years, is that kind of the magic number when you talk about debt?
Yeah, typically when the IRS assesses a debt, it's 10 years from that date to collect it. There's things that can be done to delay that, but for the most part, you're looking at 10 years. So, if you filed a 2015 tax return this April, essentially they'll have until April of 2026 to collect on that tax debt. And that could be hammering your Social Security, unemployment, wages for levies, closing bank accounts, freezing bank accounts, seizing money, or filing tax liens for 10 years. So, not to mention penalties and interest accrue rapidly. So, it's always in your best interest to deal with it head on. A lot of people, like I said, because the IRS is kind of slow to move, it could be 2-3 years before the IRS even starts sending out notices. But then they're courteous enough to say, oh, and since we caught it 3 years later, we've assessed you 3 years worth of penalties now. So,
wait, the IRS doesn't move fast?
No, surprisingly not.
Yeah, don't deny, don't despair. It's a 4-letter word, it's debt. So you can attack it head on, or you can try to put your head in the sand, like Jeff was saying, And, more from attorney Jeff Thibault, tax resolutions attorney here with the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We're going to hear from Curt Lorden coming up next as well, branch manager, Interlinc Mortgage, checking us up on the market, things happening out there, what's happening with the stock market, the mortgage market, the bond market, and educating our listeners, helping you win in any marketplace. So don't touch that dial. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation, visit Pasco County, Florida.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Brandon Rhymes, your host, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. We're back here in studio live from iHeartRadio, Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks here in studio. Real estate roundtable discussion. A couple of hot listings here. I got 414 South Royal Palm Way in Tampa, 33609, 4-bedroom, 3 full bath, 2 half bath, beach park beauty here, listed at $1.195 million for 4,800 square feet, heated. Beautiful property, great buying opportunity. And I got a gas station for sale over in Clearwater, 1209 North Fort Harrison Avenue. Another great commercial property, and you can convert this into whatever you want. It's been cleaned. It's a great commercially zoned property. And $269,000, 1209 North Fort Harrison Avenue in Clearwater. Great buying opportunity for you. And we're back here in studio, so let's go ahead and bring Curt Lorden into the conversation. And Curt, what are you seeing out there, man?
Well, to kind of go back off of what Jeff was talking about in regards to judgments and tax liens and everything showing up at the very end, last minute, I mean, that is a result of you guys working with either a really bad title company or a horrible mortgage broker, because a federal tax lien will show up on your credit report right off the bat,
right? Which
you and I have preached get pre-approved way in advance, because we can navigate around tax liens without having them necessarily paid off. Enter into some sort of a payment agreement, which Jeff talked about. we have to see that payment agreement for 6 months to pass underwriting guidelines. Same thing with judgments. If you get into a payment agreement, we just need to see 6 of them. Typically, we can get around that before the federal tax lien hits your title. So it's important to make sure you're working with someone that's intelligent, educated, and also get pre-approved in the process way in advance. And that also goes in line with refinances. You just have to add that, whatever that payment is, into your debt to income ratio, which could change your approvability or not. So it's just very important to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you do pull that report, it's going to show that tax lien on there.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying is that you have to have a timely payment schedule of 6 months. That way the lender that's underwriting that loan is going to say, okay, well, that's fine. We see that they can make this payment. They can handle it.
Yeah, and you're aware of it the moment you pull credit. I mean, I can't – it's basically almost like you talk about your clients putting their heads in the sand. That's exactly what the mortgage consultant's doing, is putting the head in the sand. Maybe the underwriter will miss it, which is impossible. They don't miss anything.
Not since 08, 07.
Exactly.
And I think it's a good idea, too, that if you know you owe, at least to notify whoever you're working with for a mortgage, because I've seen tax liens get filed even in the midst of that process. So again, better stay on top of it and bring that to the forefront so it can be proactively addressed.
Well, yeah, I mean, Brandon says it all day long. You do have debt, attack it head on. Don't pretend it doesn't exist, because it's like a festering wound. I have a scratch on my arm. I'm just going to let it go, and now your arm falls off. It's the same exact equivalent, We take care of our personal health, but our financial health, we're like, I don't want to check my bank account because I don't know if my funds are there or this, that, and the other. Just do it. Look, investigate, align yourself with professionals, and you'll end up in a much better place. So, as far as the marketplace, it's funny, the Bank of England, they rolled out that they're going to cut interest rates for the first time in 7 years. It's a byproduct of their pullout from the European Union. So I'm interested to see how that affects our markets, and also to kind of see what's going to happen down the road with them finally being independent, because I know that we're talking about, as America bringing everything on our soil and being kind of more independent versus being part of a huge union. So it's a very interesting time right now in regards to that. Also heard that Goldman Sachs was fined 0.1% of their 2015 revenue for criminal activity stealing some of the Fed's secret documents, which I found was really interesting, considering that during the entire housing crash, no one went to jail, but Goldman Sachs gets fined because they took some papers off of the Fed's desk.
Yeah, it's interesting. those movies that are documenting that, it's interesting. Tony Robbins wrote the book Money Master the Game, documenting those types of things, and that's one of the things that you think about is and that's all the more reasons to support local economy, local lenders like Curt Lorden, Corey Jeffries over at Interlinc Mortgage here, local. They are the local guys. They're the good guys. You can walk in and sit down and meet with these folks. They're not the big bank on the corner. Then you all know it. I don't have to say their name. The big banks on the corner, they took our bailout money. They bought up all this awesome real estate on the corner of every major intersection, and they also gave their CEOs that golden parachute. So we want you to support the small business here. Support these folks that are going to invest back in your community.
Well, not only do they buy all that real estate, they bought it at a huge discounted price because they caused the crash.
Big power grab. It was a huge power grab. Yeah.
It truly was. And, Corey and I are considering making Interlinc Mortgage office a Pokestop. I guess it's like $10 a month to create your own Pokestop, and people just come in. DAT's down on McDill. They're a Poke gym right now, and it's increased their business exponentially. It's insane.
Wow. Might as well, man.
Yeah.
Come in there and check it out. Bring your iPhone or smart device and apply for a mortgage while you're there.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So if you just joined us, you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. I'm your host. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the show. I'm the owner of Platinum MVP Realty. We published a book as well. I'm published author, and we're doing some professional speaking. Have a lot of fun entertaining and educating listeners out there in the marketplace. And we're talking with Curt Lorden. He's the branch manager of Interlinc Mortgage. Many years in the finance game, mortgage game. So very well versed in things happening, the TRID, the different types of legislation that came about, Dodd-Frank, and all this kind of stuff. But what's the latest with the rates and everything? Anything happening out there?
Rates are still low. They're going to continue to stay low. They keep him and Han as far as the Fed's going to raise the rate or not. She's not. I mean, there's no indication on her raising rates.
Right.
We've talked about this 18-month cycle of where we're going to see rates continue to drop, probably fall into a recession. Home prices will continue to rise. My guess, my estimation, my educated guess, is that Tampa's kind of recession-proof right now because of the job growth and all the huge influx. On a national scale, we'll probably fall into a recession, but I think in Tampa we'll still be okay. So don't fall into that fear. Don't back up and say no, we're going to get into a recession. Just keep the course. Keep heading on. And speaking of your book, today's actually National Book Lovers Day.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So they have like National Donut Day and all kinds of stuff, and it popped up that today is National Book Lovers Day. So go out and buy Brandon's book and love it.
I love it. Yeah. Thanks for the plug. I like audiobooks better too. Because audiobooks, you take them with you when you go to the gym, you're working out.
Yeah.
Those are fun. We had yesterday's show. We had Bob Massey, the property man, on the show. Interesting. He's a Fox News legal analyst. And he also has a show on the weekends, The Property Man. Maybe you've seen it. He's talking about how he was in Tampa meeting with Jeff Vinnick when they recorded that season. And he went over to Lake Nona in Orlando and down to Miami, checking out some things. But, yeah, he had very kind things to say about Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, just the way that we're really expanding and growing. And there's a lot of cool things happening in the marketplace. Let's go ahead and jump on this story then as well while we're on topic. It says Tampa Bay's economy is flourishing. This month, Tampa Bay highlights growth, the experience around the state, and challenges to regions to follow the lead so that every family in Florida can experience the American dream. The Tampa Bay economy is flourishing. On Friday at Port Tampa Bay, Governor Rick Scott announced almost 45,000 jobs were created in the past year. Tampa Bay's strong growth continues to catapult the state to new economic heights. The unemployment rate has declined 4.6% in Tampa area, one of the lowest rates in the state. The area ranks first in the state with more than 47,000 job openings, including more than 15,000 openings in STEM-related jobs, also the highest in the state. Comments?
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to real estate. We talked last week, we're able to have this kind of redo. We saw 2002 was a boom, 2008 was a bust. Now we're kind of seeing that boom again. Now is the time to get in the game. You guys meet with me and I can teach you how to make your house bubble proof. Don't just go back out to a 30-year mortgage to save $150. Move forward. Don't use your equity for evil. Use it for good. Invest it in other different vehicles. And really, if a bubble or a bust does happen again, you're not going to have the same issues that we had back in 2008. It's a great indication of what Tampa Bay is doing. I mean, that's probably the best article that we've done on the show.
Interesting point, too, is that 15,000 of the openings were, it says STEM related, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics related. And that kind of echoes a theme that we hear a lot of times when we're talking with the local mayors on the show, is that we're in such competition for that millennial, that college grad that's coming out of school, for those intelligent graduates. We want them to come here and work, live, and play in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and St. Petersburg was they're the #1 spot in Florida for millennials, for millennial growth. Yeah. So, and obviously they're moving there and they're working in Tampa, I would assume. So they're doing that commute across the wonderful Howard Frankland Bridge, which is gorgeous, or the Courtney Campbell Causeway. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're seeing them come in. We're seeing them come in.
What's that, Jeff?
Said you can get through an audiobook just on there.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I wake up every morning to a new audiobook. That's my thing, man. I love feeding my mind and jumping into some, either Les Brown or some Bob Proctor, some of the real estate related stuff. Grant Cardone, who's been a guest on the show, Darren Hardy, publisher of Success Magazine. Some really good stuff you can pull up on a lot of times free sites like SoundCloud. You can get them. So hey, stay with us. Don't touch that dial. More from our expert contributors. We're going to go into our lightning round. We're going to get our top consumer advocate tips, things to do, things to avoid, from Fred Muth with Tampa Screens and Aluminum, as well as attorney Jeff Thibault, tax resolutions attorney, and also Curt Lorden, mortgage and finance expert here, and co-host today on the Real Estate Quarterback Show. And so we're going to talk more about things happening locally in Tampa Bay and things that affect you, ways that you can live a better life. So stay with us. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
Walk through life. Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let it take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way? 'Cause every day is a new day.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation, visit Pasco County, Florida.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. Couple of hot listings I want to throw at you here. I got 8211 Brent Street, number 838. This is a beautiful condominium in Port Richey, and the Sand Pebble Point condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bath property, community pool. There's a boat dock as well. Waterfront condo, gorgeous views. You're literally looking over the whole intercoastal right on out to the Gulf here, and it's only $389,000. Beautiful buying opportunity, and 8211 Brent Street, and also 18158 Canal Point Street in Tampa. Heritage Isles. This is in the Heritage Isles Golf Community, and a beautiful property here. 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. 1,386 square feet, 1,951 total square feet, and a great buying opportunity here. Heritage Isles and 18158 Canal Point in Tampa Bay. The best place in the United States to be living.
No shoes, no shirt, and no problem.
All right, so Intelligent Talk Radio, we're going to jump right into our lightning round. All right, top consumer tips, things to do, things to avoid. Fred Muth, you're up first. Tampa Screens and Aluminum Inc.
Oh, these are some fantastic times we're experiencing in the Tampa Bay area. My advice to anybody who's considering a patio screen enclosure project is, and I've said this before, please ask questions to your estimator. There's no question that is ridiculous or redundant in this business. If I sign you up the beginning of the month, we may have a month or 6 weeks before the permit comes through. Continue to ask me questions. I'd much rather have the questions asked before the job is completed.
Right.
And surprises on the back end are about the worst thing that you can experience in the construction business, and I'm sure we've all been there.
Yeah, absolutely. You get those change orders. It costs more. There's going to be, more expense added to your bill and more stress. That's one of the things that happens when you don't plan. That stress in there. So, all right, top consumer tips, things to do, things to avoid. Attorney Jeff Thibault, tax resolution attorney.
Number one thing to do is deal with it. If you have an issue with any creditor, any sort of debt, especially the IRS, or any legal matter, better than waiting until it controls you. Take control of the situation and deal with it. Contact my office for a free consultation, 813-280-0565. And like I said, just because the IRS or a creditor isn't actively doing anything to collect the debt doesn't mean it's not out there, and it's not going to probably rise later on, more so with just penalties and interest and more effects. So Just
Give that
nip it in the
number
bud.
again, 280-0565.
Yep, 813-280-0565.
Okay, great. Excellent. Curt Lorden?
Well, I'm going to go rogue for a second.
do
I
it.
mean, I'm the Maverick, so that just makes sense. I'd be doing myself a disservice. So this is more of just a person, tip. It's actually a feel-good story. So there was a pitcher that was drafted in the first round by the Angels, and before that, he went to the University of Michigan, and he won the James E. Sullivan Top Amateur Athlete Award. He won a gold medal in the '88 Olympics for baseball. He finished 5th in the Rookie of the Year voting. He finished in 1991. He finished 3rd in the Cy Young, and he pitched a no-hitter while being with the Yankees. And he collected 2 hits in 21 at bats against when he played for the Brewers. And he did all of this with being born without a right hand.
Abbott?
Jim Abbott. Yep.
Yeah.
So the next time you guys are out there and you think that something can't be achieved or you can't take that next step, just think of Jim Abbott. He did all of that with one hand, and he played professional baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, great story, man. That is a tell me something good right there. I'm gonna hit that.
Yeah, we haven't done those in a while.
Yeah. Tell us, what's the tease that you made? You talked about St. Louis to
Yeah,
LA.
so I was watching ESPN, and they had a big thing pop up on the screen. So the last time that the Rams were in L.A., gas was below $2 a gallon. The film of the year was Schindler's List, and the president was Clinton. So I did some research, and right now our gas is below $2 a gallon in most places, especially Wawa. The top movie is Spotlight, which, to correlate the two of those, obviously Schindler's List was the horrific mistreatment of people, and Spotlight is based on the horrific mistreatment of people within churches and stuff like that. Watch the movie. With that being said, it leads me to believe that Clinton will be the next president.
Interesting.
I mean, it's loosely tied together, but it made sense to me.
Loose logic. All right.
There's some logic behind it.
Yeah.
I've heard worse.
Yeah, so have I.
Hey, good tease though. All right, my top consumer tip is the discipline of self-discipline. Is Napoleon Hill did a 25-year study into the 500 best and brightest business, and he talked about the master key to riches in his book that he wrote, and it says, with it, everything works. Without it, nothing works. The ability to make yourself do what you should do, whether you feel like it or not. That's the discipline of the power of self-discipline, rather. And sociologist Dr. Edward Banfield of Harvard did a long-term study as well, and he talked about the ability to have time perspective. When you make a decision, the longer time perspective you have when you make that decision, the longer you look into the future, it's going to dictate the way that people have the ability to move up in socioeconomic where they're standing within the economy, and it's all about sacrifice. And a great quote from Jim Rome says, "Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons." So let's make another round here with the lightning round. And Fred Muth.
I think we covered a lot today. I throw a little humor in there. The installers always come up to me and ask me for a couple of tips, and the one that I tell them all the time is never, ever, ever come down the ladder the way you went up. And they say, "What are you talking about?" I say, "Head first."
There you go. That's a good one. Jeff?
You just want to remind people, if anybody's getting calls or emails from people representing themselves as IRS agents or trying to collect money from you, it's a scam.
Yeah.
If they're IRS criminal actions against taxpayers are super rare. These people obviously are telling customers or taxpayers that they've contacted the Pinellas or Hillsborough County Sheriffs. Again, that's a telltale sign that it's a scam. Same thing with emails. The IRS does not email unless you're actively working with somebody.
Right.
No form of communications aside from U.S. mail. So
right.
Don't freak out. Don't be concerned. There's actually a lot of information on the IRS website. If you just Google IRS scams, there's tons of articles about it, and you can forward emails to the IRS, and they look into those. Something up like 400% this year, the amount of scams that have been reported.
Wow. Yeah. IRS.gov.
Correct.
Yeah. Same thing with Craigslist, man. When it comes to real estate, there's so many real estate scams out there. People trying to get folks to send in cash or money orders to rent a home that potentially would be a $2,000 home. It's a great deal at $800, but you got to send your money now. So it kind of has that allure for people. So it gets them to send that. And I had it happen last month to one of my clients that was on the selling side. They used his property, and so it does happen. There's these scams out there, and we want you to think a layer deeper, be more street smart. Take chances is not the thing to do. You want to reach out, you want to call, talk to a professional, and attorney Jeff Thibault here in Tampa Bay, he can help you with any types of IRS types of tax debt, bankruptcy type situations, and help you when it comes to these types of things that are happening. And I want to remind you as well, all of our partners are listed at realestateradiotampa.com. Their contact information is right there on the website. You can also call our hotline at 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
We love it when you call us on the hotline at 813-917-1894. Curt?
Well, we talked about IRS tax liens and this, that, and the other, and now is the time to buy a home. The interest is tax deductible. It might not be forever, and we'll talk about that next week on next week's show about all of that. But by deducting the mortgage interest, you'll lessen your tax bill and hopefully avoid maybe a federal tax lien for back taxes, et cetera, et cetera. Plus, we're in one of the hottest housing markets we've seen in years. So now is the time to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. The sellers out there, if you're potentially thinking about selling, maybe you want to move closer to work, closer to the beach, up, down, left, right, it's the time to do it is now. There's still a lack of inventory here in Tampa Bay. There's so many buyers out there looking for properties, and when a new one pops up on that listing book report, if you're a buyer out there, that's the best thing to do instead of calling on signs. A lot of people just call on the signs and try to find out and sort through it that way. Get set up on an MLS search account. It's going to be able to send you the brand new listings that hit the market every day right to your email address. And that way you can see the properties that are coming on the market, and you can make a move. You got to get out there and get the move going and be one of the first to see it and one of the first to offer on it. And then that's the way you're going to win on the buying side. And then the way you win on the selling side is you find out what the value is of the property, and you sit down and you talk to someone like me that's going to be able to share with you some of the innovative strategies that people are doing when it comes to, especially on the real estate side, because let's face it, it's easy to get licensed. There's good, better, and best in any profession. And, there's a lot of folks out there that, they give bad advice. Frankly, I see bad advice all over the place out there. That's why we started this show. I want you to think of the Real Estate Quarterback Show and our second brand, the Consumer Quarterback Show, as the hub of your financial wheel. Each spoke extending out, representing another one of our preferred partners. Over 80 show partners now, expert contributors that we put together, we vetted, and they are the best at what they do to help you win. And that's the goal of our show. I want to thank Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, for coming in this station today. I want to thank attorney Jeff Thibault as well, tax resolution attorney, as well as Curt Lorden, branch manager, Interlinc Mortgage, for coming into studio and educating our listeners out there, giving us these nuggets of advice. So please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.